Hi, folks. Thanks for being here. My name's Patrick Boylan. I'm a current regent in the Nevada system of higher education, and I'm here as your moderator. I won't say anything to you at all, except watch out for Jim. He usually has these cards there, show them the yellow and the red card that he puts up. Yellow is when you got a minute left or so, and red is when you have to keep quiet. Could you show that to them? Because I think they can.
So you get yellow,
Yeah.
15 seconds left, and red means your time is up. I won't be rude and stop you right away, but just wrap up as soon as possible.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'll explain the interview process to you, but first I'd like to mention our silent auction. And like I was telling Steve, me buy Conor McGregor is there. So if you should buy his picture, I'm just acting funny trying to talk like him. So you can buy his picture there. And we have our sponsors, the foreign exchange where we are right now. Stephanie Phillips, U.S. Senate candidate. Carl Carlotta, Clark County School District candidate, District A. And Ron Quince, U.S. Congressional District 1. And of course, my favorite, Barbie's Goodies. We had the donuts. Don't laugh. You've got to go and eat at Barbie's Goodies. So I have to. I copied that from Steve, so it's okay. The interview process is going to be like this. A few steps here. Number one, the panel members will introduce themselves by giving their name, position, and the organization that they represent. Number two, then each candidate will be given 1 minute to introduce yourselves and asked to explain why you are running and seeking our endorsements. Number three, candidates, please remember this is an interview, not a debate. So when asked a question from a panel member, please direct your answer to the panel members only. Don't start debating each other. When you receive a question from a panel member, you will be given 1 minute to answer their question. Number five, Jim will be the timekeeper. Once you receive the yellow card, you will be given 15 seconds to wrap up. Once you're given the red card, Jim will throw you out. It's like soccer, so watch out. Number six is the candidates will then be given up to 1 minute for a response. All right, now I'll let the panel members introduce themselves.
Good afternoon, Kylie Tuckett with Veterans in Politics.
Thanks for coming. Matthew DeFalco, Nevada Democratic Veterans and Military Families Caucus.
Jim Jonas, Veterans in Politics.
Barbara Lucian, Veterans in Politics.
Steve Horner, Nevada Democratic Veterans and Military Families Caucus.
Barbara Dreyer, Nevada Democratic Veterans and Military Families Caucus.
Mikey Kelly, Nevada Democratic Veterans and Military Families Caucus. Welcome.
Jim, you want to start the questions?
Well, no, actually, at this time, let's have the candidates introduce themselves.
Okay. Thank you.
You get 1 minute, candidates, and can you do me a favor? I know it's customary to stand, but can you please remain seated? It throws our cameras all out of whack. Thank you.
My name is Don Connors, and I live on the very north end of the district, and I've kind of tracked everybody else except for Miss Joseph, but you've got the whole on. I've got two kids in Arborview High School. I'm usually on the other side. I'm managing campaigns. I'm helping campaigns. I take a piece and run with it. But this year is going to be a very violent year, I thought, and told my wife she couldn't run, she couldn't talk. This wasn't her year. And we had a heated conversation that very last week of sign up, and she said, if you don't do it, I will. So with that, I'm a recent arrival to the district. I've got two children still at home, and like my friend here, I've got lots of gray hair. That was an attaboy.
It's okay.
Give me a break.
That's fine.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Richard McArthur. This Senate District 18 is made up of two assembly districts, 4 and 13. Now, I've represented Assembly District 4 for 5 regular sessions and 2 special sessions. So I know pretty much what goes on up in Carson City. And the reason I keep running is because I want to do my part to help Nevada be a good state, to live, work, play, and raise your family here. As far as my personal background, I have a degree in economics. After college, I joined the Air Force. I was in the Air Force for 6 years. I was a pilot, and I am a Vietnam veteran. After that, I joined the FBI. I was in the FBI for 25 years, and about 15 years at the end of my FBI duty, I spent all that time here in the Las Vegas office. I would like to mention one quick thing, and I will stop now.
My name is Iman Joseph. I'm American Lebanese, and I'm happy to be here, especially to be in front of all of you. I bring diversity today here, being Lebanese immigrant. I came to the United States around 1995, and I grew up in the war, lived in a shelter with my family. My dad served in Lebanon 35 years in law enforcement, and I was a nurse. I was a war nurse. I grew up to know that I was a nurse, and then I came to I went to Africa, and I worked in a research project for a year. Got married there. Then I came to America. I had 4 kids. Then a few years from that time, I was a single mom with 4 kids. Went to UNLV, worked with student government at UNLV, and became an educator with CCSD. And I'm a wife now of a frontline doctor during the pandemic, a mother of first responder, and a mother of frontline scribe Sunrise Hospital. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name's John Steinback. I want to first thank you for your service and appreciate this opportunity. Currently, I am the fire chief of Clark County. I've been with the department for 34 years. I've been the fire chief since 2020. During that time, I've also worked on different legislation over the years. I've had 12 bills that I've written up, 12 bills that have passed. So I am very familiar with that. The reason that I'm running is because of that, because of the priorities that have been set by the governor that I'm in alignment with, and the fact that Governor Lombardo asked me to run. So Governor Lombardo asked me to run because we've worked closely together since he was a sheriff and I was a fire chief. And we believe that there's quite a bit that we can do together. I'm looking forward to this opportunity. On a personal note, I have 4 children, 1 grandchild, and I've lived in the district now since 1980.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Josh Leavitt. Like John, I grew up here in Las Vegas. I'm a person that executes on ideas, and I get things done. I've been a CIO of a helicopter company here, so I'm very engaged in technology. I'm an entrepreneur. I started 3 companies here in the past 3 years. One is called Ionovate, another one's in Tagley, and I did Tech Alley as well, which helped create the tech and startup community here because we saw there was a problem. There was no community for folks to engage in, to learn to bring ideas to market, and to get knowledge from the individuals that are out there. The reason I'm running is because there's a lot of representation up there in Carson City. I think you see a lot of government folks, you see a lot of lawyers and so on, but you don't see people as entrepreneurs and in technology. And I'm here to represent that side and ensure the state is future-proofed, that we're getting things done. We're not reactionary, but we're very forward-thinking. Thanks.
Good afternoon again. My name is Kylie Tucker with Veterans in Politics. So I have a short, quick question for you guys. What is the biggest issue you've identified in your district, and how do you plan to address it?
So, in my district, there's you get a lot from walking and talking to the neighbors, and especially canvassing and so on. I think it's important that legislators do it. I hear a lot of things about water rights, well and sewage mandates that they're coming out because it's a very rural area down there. The other big issue that keeps coming up is concerns about the border, and I share those concerns. We are in a lot of ways a sanctuary state where we cannot we cannot communicate with federal authorities when it comes to illegal aliens with warrants and so on. And I have relatives that are in Texas right now that are in the National Guard protecting that side there. And I agree with what that Texas is doing when the federal government can't take over. I think that the states need to take on that. I approve what Lombardo has done with showing support. Those are the big issues. Now, on other issues I see that a lot of people talk about is entrepreneurism and making small business very easy to start here. And that's what I'm working for as well.
Jim. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I don't mind doing that. So it starts at Hualapai up in Sky Canyon, goes all the way down to Simmons and Aliante, and it goes about as far north as, I think it's called Iron Gate, it might be, but it's right there by Iron Mountain. Yeah, it's right there where the Kyle Canyon turnoff is, and it heads over to Lone Mountain, a little bit of Craig in there as well. So it's just right around there.
Same question to me, sir? Yes. So just like Josh, knocking the doors and finding out from the different people there in the district, something that we already knew. Just like the rest of the public, right now, public safety is really a top priority. People are really concerned about crime. They're worried about some of the home invasions. They're worried about certainly seeing people raid stores without any consequences of that. So that's a high concern for people when you knock on their door. Which is consistent, right? That's what you care the most about is, are you safe when you get at home? Much like Josh said as well, though, you are hearing about immigration as being a high concern, and inflation, right? I mean, inflation has taken a bite out of everybody. Right now, it's been rampant for the last few years, and the dollar's just not going as far as it went. So that's really affecting families' ability across the board. No matter what the issue is that they're trying to solve, that's entering into their lives, where they're sending their kids to school or trying to make their mortgage with the current costs of homes. Thank you.
The issues that I hear from the people while knocking doors, it's about housing. We have so many housing there, and we don't have schools, enough schools. A lot of people moving to the side, northwest side, but we don't have enough schools. One more thing people are complaining about, driving to CSN. We need to have community college on that side. I know that we have a land, and president of CSN, he tried 3 times to get funding, and it failed. So that's what we need to look for, to build a community college.
Thank you. I hear a lot of different ideas and a lot of the same problems, safety, schools, and that sort of thing. But the one that does keep coming up is the border problem. And the problem is, we talk about it, but unfortunately, we come to the conclusion that the border is mainly a federal problem. But a lot of people here say, well, then let's do what we can. And so that's to get rid of all of the sanctuary cities. So that's one of the biggest things that keeps coming up. Where I am is where this district includes both these two, and it's basically as far west as Lone Mountain, and it goes east 215 all the way out to where that casino is out there, goes up to Sky Canyon on the north, and it goes down to Lake Mead or so on the south side. Thank you.
My wife and I were talking. She's the one that wanted to run, and I talked her into letting me run. She would have been a Republican like my friends over here, but it's a House divided. And that's actually what I'm concerned about is there's a Bible verse, and maybe one of you folks remember it. A nation that stands divided shall fail, shall be destroyed. And then it goes on, a household or a city shall That's the one that they have failing. So we're right now in all stages of our government at a standstill. We're at a standstill, and what I'd be talking about constantly is the need to get some kind of cooperation. We have to communicate, and it's just critical. Thank you, James. This is yours. This is Richard.
Good afternoon, candidates. First off, my name is Joaquin Perry. I'm with the Armed Forces Chamber of Pact. My question is for everybody. Are we rotating ends, or are they going back from right to left, or are they going this way? Let's rotate them. Yeah. Okay, so this question is for everybody. Excuse me. Have you authored, sponsored, or co-sponsored any bills benefiting veterans? And if so, tell us about it. If not, do you plan to?
I have two children in the military. They're my 25-year-old son and my 23-year-old daughter. And he's also becoming a fireman, hopefully working with the gentleman down there, or for the gentleman. And I haven't sponsored any legislation, but they're talking at me constantly. And we're often a place where 8 or 10 guys and the daughter, who's my campaign manager and never showed, they sit there and they just tell me how they would improve it. The son is a sergeant. The daughter is going to be a sergeant. Her papers are rolling. And it kind of skipped a generation. So, no, I didn't serve. I haven't sponsored anything, but I've got a source that's going to bug me until I get certain things done for the younger ones.
Thank you. Last session, I did get a resolution through, and hopefully it's to benefit our veterans. And what it is to continue some studies on hyperbaric oxygen therapy. And that is supposed to help out those people that have problems with PTSD and TBI. TBI is tragic brain injury. So that's the one resolution that I got through. I put a veterans bill through, almost everything is single session up there. But if some of you aren't familiar with the way things work, the party that's in power, they pretty much run and control everything. And it has to go through a committee before it goes anyplace else. And so if they don't like your bills or something along that line, that bill will never get heard and it'll never go any farther. So I have put bills in every single session. The last session up there was the time that I did get this resolution that went through. So thank you.
I have not passed any bills before. I'm new to this. But if I wanted to pass a bill, it would be has to be with PACT, expanding the PACT benefits. And the way I would do it, we know a lot of people struggling now with the dental. A lot of veterans, they don't have a coverage. Maybe that's what I would look for, to have a coverage under PACT somehow.
Thank you. Again, I've been the fire chief. I have not been in the legislature, but I have written 12 different bills that have passed through. The first bill that I wrote, passed through, was back in 2005. That was to protect our children from child predators. That was mandatory minimum sentencing. The next 10 were following the 1 October shooting. I was incident commander for the Emergency Operations Center for that shooting. Got 10 bills passed. They were all in public safety, most of those back to victim services. One of the things that came out of that was the Vegas Strong Resiliency Center, which is just down the street here now, and that is certainly provides additional behavioral health and social services that are available to veterans. And then the last bill was on fireworks. To the question of what bills would I propose, I do understand right now that there is a problem with survivor benefits. So, when somebody serves, their spouse also serves, right? But when that person passes away or no longer can get those benefits, then that leaves a hole there for that spouse, and that was something I would like to try to address at the state level. Thank you.
Again, Josh Leavitt, I appreciate the question. And like most everybody here, I've not been a legislator, but for the past, since 2016, I've been working with legislators, basically as a volunteer program. I basically said there needs to be a representation from the Nevada perspective on technology and business. So I'm going to read the bills, read the BDRs, and say, hey, why don't you just tweak it here or there? So I got very accustomed to the process. And one of the things that I did as a workforce advocate is I thought that it would be great to remove the fees and costs for letting veterans start their first business. And I researched it across the country and found some a bill in Texas that did the same thing. And I thought, I'm going to call my senator. And I reached out to Hammond, and I said, "Here's these ideas, and so on," and drafted it up. And I'd like to see something like that again. As a big advocate of entrepreneurism, is to see it make it easier for entrepreneurs to start businesses and so on. So I see the red card.
Thanks everyone for being here. Matthew DeFalco. My question is: in 2019, Nevada opened up the Northern Nevada Veterans Home. Many veterans, including my people on this panel, raised alarm bells when the state decided to privatize the facility. In April 2022, the Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services, CMS, issued 37 health citations to the home, nearly 5 times the national average and 3 times the average for Nevada facilities inspected by CMS. The home received a 2 out of 5 star rating from CMS because of health inspection failures, including several for deficiencies in quality of life, infection control, and pharmacy service. The Veterans Home in Southern Nevada, by contrast, which is run by the state and has not been privatized, is rated 5 stars. Given the series of disasters at the Northern Nevada Veterans Home, what is your stance on changing the privatization of the facility to ensure the safety and well-being of our veterans in the future? And I'm not just looking for words of support. I want a yes or a no. Will you support the changing of privatization of the facility or not? Thank you.
It's on my end here. So I believe in accountability, right? And it's good to know that what's working and what's not working when it comes to the services that you said. And if I got it right, you said one is actually doing pretty well. The government one and the private one is doing terrible. So if there's an issue with that, well, let's solve that. So I would like to look into why there's the issues and better understand it. I think that's wise as a legislator when you're making these types of decisions. What's really going on and what's the core problem? Let's ask that 5 why question. Let's get down to the core issue and see, is it making it privatized, or is it make it more run by the government, or is there some little tweak that we just need to make happen? If the issue is that it is better to have it privatized or public run, then of course I would say yes. When it comes to those findings.
Thank you, Matthew, for the question, and that's a shame that we've hear about that and those types of conditions. First thing I would do, of course, is ask that contract be terminated, right? I mean, that's unacceptable for us to have a facility ran at that level. If you're going to privatize something, there's an expectation that the services exceed or at least equal that the government is providing. If we can't provide that on the private side, then absolutely I would support us going back to a public facility and the public option of that. Much like Josh said, I would have to take a deep dive into that and figure out exactly why this was shortcoming, right? Is it a matter of were they funded at the proper level, something along those lines, but that is not something that we could accept at any level, and we definitely have to demand better services all the way across the board. And so my answer would be yes.
I concur the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the problem here is, I'm for business and privatization and that sort of thing. If this one didn't work, then that's a problem. They need to fix it. So going from either the state or privatization depends on which one works and which one you want to work. So as it stands right now, I'd be in favor of either one. But I prefer privatization because I'm for jobs and I'd rather have that rather than more government. But if they can't do it properly, then you can't have them do it. It's that simple. So then we could go and have that. I'm not against the state running it either, though.
I've spent half my career working for large companies, and I was part of the team that would go out and actually walk the people out the door that weren't performing. What you have up there is poor performance. It's privately owned. The state either puts it in receivership or you get a new general manager up there to set the thing straight. It's one or the other, but you can't sit with the two. And I'm not sure what the legislature can do. With two in myself, I'm going to be very supportive. My son was in intensive care at Nellis for 6 days, and we weren't sure he was going to make it. But he's not he's 25 years old. So, but I prefer the private remedy, like my friend here, but if they can't do it, you just put it in a receivership and you take it. And you fix it.
Hi, I'm Barbara with Veterans in Politics. I kind of want to switch gears and go into the education a little bit. I know that a lot of the schools and the whole industries, they're looking to find ways to get better security and better ways of protecting our kids. What is your plan in order to make the kids a little bit safer in the school, even individual schools or the districts? Oh, yeah, you guys can start. Oh, I'm basically, what is your plan in order to help get more safety in the schools?
I would push it right down to the school level and have them come up with a plan. And then the district can examine the plans for all the schools, try out the ones that they like, and toss the ones that don't work.
Thank you. School district has several problems, and and safety is one of them. But it's their own problem, and they did that themselves because they quit stopping some of those students who are doing things that they shouldn't, because they just don't want to cause problems for their students. But you have to have some laws, and you have to have some rules, and you have to do that. So the school district has basically done a lot of this to themselves. So if there's once they get everything fixed, then you do what you need to do if you need more officers, in the school district. But right now, it's their own problem for not going along with the laws that we have already and not doing something to those students that are really causing the problems.
The problem with the CCSD, we have low funding. This is the problem. So I worked in the past at Behavior School Correction Center, and where a cop would sit in my classroom while I'm teaching. That summer, when school is over, I woke up in a hospital. I find out that the police found my body in Mountain's Edge. Yes, it's August 2nd, 2010. So even if the cop comes and sit in your class, do you think you fear the kids? It's the parent, first of all. We have to do something about the parent first before we talk about anything else.
Thank you, Barbara. So since the 1 October shooting, unfortunately, I've become an expert in acts of mass violence, right? Wasn't something I ever wanted to. Certainly on the victim services side, too. Also, as a chair of our Urban Area Strategic Initiative, responsible for a lot of grant programs. Some of those have been to harden our schools, right? Like any other target, that's what you have to do if you want to go ahead and strengthen the security of that. So that's physical security measures. That's added additional officers that are available. That's neutralizing the threat as quickly as possible so that they have the ability to do that. And it's also a matter of us removing the threat, right? So if you take a look at the Parkland shooting, that kid that came in and did that, he said he was going to do it multiple times. People didn't listen, right? So we have to go ahead and we have to remove that threat and make sure that we're neutralizing that and separating there, but also hardening our schools and then making them safer with the materials they need following a mass violence action.
Yeah, thank you for the question. And I think about it quite a bit. My wife's a teacher, and I worry about her safety as well. And I look at things and say, why do people go to schools? Well, they're easy targets. They know right away, no guns are allowed, there's no security. It's going to take a while for police to get there. And I'm not opposed to bringing security in for schools in order to protect them. I think that's going to be a deterrent. I also believe, at least on the student side, is that you have to teach them a culture of accountability. That the teachers are in control. That there's actions for for when you do something wrong, and that these types of ideas and thoughts when it comes to violence are not acceptable in our culture and our space. So yeah, I mean, I would really like to see schools become a much more protected and safe environment for all.
No, we're super tight on time.
Okay.
We're gonna have to keep it.
All right, and I will ask a much more simple question than I was going to. Could you support giving veterans who want to go into public service to become fully vested in PERS after a short probationary period rather than waiting the full 5 years? And how would you fund that? One PERS recipient up there.
Yeah. So it's 5 years you're vested for the PERS.
Yeah.
Right.
It takes 5 years to fully vest.
Yeah. I still have to look into it because I'm not sure how the retirement works when it comes to veterans. But I'll be honest. I think that I would stick with the 5 years. I would stick with what's out there right now. And yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to listening to ideas. But at this point, I would be. I'd be interested in learning more. I really don't have an answer other than currently I would stick with the 5.
Stephen, that's an interesting proposal. I haven't heard that one, right? So we work very hard to try to make sure that we bring in as many veterans as we can to the fire service. And because those years of service that they did in the armed forces are worth so much to us. It is something that I would certainly consider. You have to make sure that PERS remains viable, right? We don't want it to become like California or many of the other types of retirement systems that have had to have the bailouts, Michigan, things along that nature. But I could see, and for many reasons, again, I'm just now contemplating this since you asked the question, I could see the value of that because it also as a recruitment tool, right? Right now, workforce development, us recruiting that talent into the public service, especially on the law enforcement side, is something that we need. And if you could go ahead and give that credit, as long as it's financially viable, that sounds like a great idea.
Same here. I would stay at 5 year.
I'm not sure. I don't have all the information that I really need to answer this question, and I want to do everything I can to help veterans out. I put a lot of bills in to help veterans, and I don't understand some of the technical problems here with changing that from 5 years. So right now, I don't have an exact answer for you. I'm sorry.
This is one of those issues that comes up, nobody looks at it, nobody's focused on it directly. You have to get a room full of people to work on it. And I think a proposal for, my 2 kids are serving 6-year terms. Give them half of the year's credit, 3 years towards the PERS, just for the vesting. But that would have to be something that would have to be hammered through. We need more information. And I'd be happy to listen to you if I'm elected.
I've heard that so many times.
What's that? You got lots of other questions I can see.
Yeah. Barbara Dreyer, 2-part question, and I guess we start that way across. I taught in behavior schools here in Clark County, and my school was subsequently closed by CCSD. What are your ideas for improving effective discipline in our schools? And are any of you familiar with the significance of April in regards to the military family?
They give me 2 chances in a row to talk. Okay, the first thing, I agree with you. My 23-year-old daughter, who was supposed to be here and apparently couldn't find the place, was sexually assaulted in a gym class when she was a junior in high school. Her mother and I just came unglued. The police officer said he's a at-risk student, and I'm looking at him like he's got two heads. And I ended up standing on the principal's desk like this, yelling. And I was using a cane at the time, and at the end of it, I had to apologize and say, guys, I need help. One of the deans and the principal helped me down. And the second question?
The significance of April to the military families.
What is the significance?
Kind of a trick question. You either heard of it or you haven't.
I have not. My kids haven't asked for a thing.
I haven't heard of April either, other than that's when my birthday is, but other than that, I don't understand that. The main problem, and I mentioned this before, is disciplining our students. And it just isn't happening fairly. And so that's one of the biggest problems we have. Discipline everyone, and you do it fairly with everyone. And I think that's going to help a lot as far as safety and that sort of thing that goes on. And the April thing, I don't understand.
We need to start at the level of regular schools first, behavior plans, before they become bad kids. Because you know what happened? When a student steals a piece of gum and he get caught, he can't go back, to regular school. He has to stay in regular school. He has to go to behavior school for a certain of time for a discipline. Then he will go back to his regular school. Sometimes his regular school does not take him back. This is the problem we have, and you know that. And that kid, when he comes back, if he gets the chance to come back, guess what? He comes with a lot in his budget, with a lot of behavior. It's worse than before. So we need to give the kids the chances at regular school. That's what I believe. And talk to the parent. That's how I would see it, because this comes from the parent first. I would give a lot of chances before thinking about behavior school, because some of these kids are also the kids of veterans. Thank you.
Hi, Barbara. Yeah, sorry, I do not know the significance of April to military families. To your question, no, I just want to make sure I clarify. So you said that your school was closed? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then the question is what we would do to help provide behavioral support? Yes. So, again, right away, it is the earlier that we intervene, the better. I mean, you have to have consequences for your actions, but it also has to be resources, right? So it's a combination, and also there are some societal issues here at play that are bigger than what the legislature can have an impact on, but we can certainly have an impact on some of it. If you invest that money early, then it can really assist quite a bit. If you wait and push the problem down further, the behavioral problem doesn't go away. It just continues to increase and increase and increase. And unfortunately, at a certain point, then that child behavior may turn into criminal actions and then additional issues that we have moving forward. So early intervention is my best answer I have for you.
Well, I'm happy to say that April is Purple Month. It's recognizing the children of veterans. My mother was with the American Legion and the American Legion Auxiliary, and last month I have a 3D printer. We printed a hundreds of these little purple medallions and so on for families to recognize Purple Up and so on. So yeah, it's a great month, and I'm glad you brought it up. As I mentioned before, accountability is, I think, the key to the behavioral issues, or in solving the behavioral issues in our school district. That restorative justice effort that went in, or I guess it did get put into law in 2019, I believe. It might have even been earlier than that, 2017. But it stripped the power away from teachers, and it let those that needed that needed to have discipline and needed to have a structure. It took that opportunity away from them, and they just encouraged others to misbehave. And we need to give, again, teachers that ability to discipline and control their classrooms.
Thank you. And good afternoon, Mikey Kelly, Nevada Democratic Veterans and Military Families Caucus. To kind of follow up on Matt's question, the Nevada Department of Veterans Services, which is the state agency that's responsible for assisting with veterans transitions in the state, has had numerous problems, some major problems. There have been it's right now currently under state police investigation for discrimination, some fraud issues. Their employees, 260 approximately, many of them complained to the governor's office about it, no response. They complained to the legislature, no response. They complained to their state human resources, Division of Human Resource Management, their equal opportunity, no response. They finally had to go to the media, and they finally, now all of a sudden, there's some response. There's an investigation. We've seen toxic leadership in the past in the state, as well as in the county, and in one case in the county, we have a department head or an elected facing a murder charge. My question is very blunt. Every year for the past 13 years, there has been an inspector general bill suggested that's been put up at the legislature. That would be a major solution to solving accountability, because all I hear about is accountability, accountability, accountability. We need an organization or an agency that can actually hold people accountable, that can report back to the legislature when there are issues. Because as I've heard many of you say up on this panel, I don't have information. Well, maybe if you had an inspector general, you might actually have some information to be able to make some well-needed decisions. And my question is simply, very clearly, a yes or no. Will you support, and it's come up every session since 2011, and Democrat governors or Republican governors haven't pushed it. Will you push for the establishment of an office of inspector general at the state level that can investigate misconduct at every level of the state, from state, county, and municipal government?
Candidates, can you do me a favor? On this one, we're super close on time. We're actually over. So please, a yes or no.
You said it passionately, and I'm favoring yes for something like that. Because if you don't have accountability, you have
no. You're good. John, go ahead.
That information, yes.
Okay.
Yes, for sure.
Probably yes for what I know so far.
I like this guy beside me. Yes.
Okay, so candidates, because we are over on time, I'm only going to give each of you 30 seconds for your closing statements, please. So whoever wants to start.
I'm happy to start. I'll be as quick as I can. So thank you again so much. It actually feels good to see everybody here on the panel get a face to a name. But I'm excited to be running. I'm eager to get things done at the state level. Again, we need folks up there that are forward thinking, ready to make plans and say, all right, where does the state need to go and how are we going to get there? And let's make it happen. And not so much on the reaction side. Let's start bringing some of that entrepreneurial spirit, that technology know-how to make things work for us at the state level. Thank you.
No, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity today. Look forward to hopefully gaining your trust and your endorsement through this process. Thank you so much for this. Certainly moving forward, the issues facing veterans are a microcosm of the rest of society, right? It's the same things: cost of living, housing, job placement, mental behavioral health. All of those things come into play. You would certainly have an advocate in those areas with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting us today here. I would like to thank each one of you for taking your time, to ask us all these questions. I know we're running out of time. I'm very excited, actually, to run for this position, and I'm looking forward to advocate for veterans. My main goal would be looking into reducing the diabetic drug medication, the price of it, because I have a lot of friends, veterans, they having problem buying this medication, and expanding and extending the packed benefits. This is what I'm looking for.
Well, thank you for having us here today. And I keep running, and that's because I want to do my part wherever I can to make Nevada a good place to live, work, play, raise your family, and feel safe. And that's why I keep doing this. As far as what was the other part of the question, I forgot already.
It's your final wrap-up.
I just want to do whatever I can to help veterans. I've been there before. I've done it a lot, and I put a bill in almost every single time to help our veterans. They just don't go through the committees. Thank you.
With politics the way they are in Nevada and in Washington, D.C., I'm not sure I even want to go. I'm very competitive. I'd like to, but I'm going to give each of my colleagues here just a list of the stand divided statement. And one of them will be elected, and I would like one of them to kind of accept that call to be cooperative and communicate with the other side, each to the other. Thanks, guys.
Okay, folks, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it.